Camille would be one for the history books. Meteorologist Jim Cantore looks back at Camille.
Camille was an extremely powerful hurricane. Camille is only one of two Category 5 hurricanes recorded to have struck the U.S. mainland.
It's 10 o'clock in Biloxi now, and the eye of the storm, they say, is still over 2 hours away. The wind is so strong one can hardly stand up in it. The rain is torrential. Streets are flooded. We are cut off from the outside world in our motel here. There is no power. Everything is black.
Camille made landfall over the Mississippi coast on August 17, 1969, with winds of 200 miles an hour. It carved a path of destruction from Biloxi, Mississippi to Bay St. Louis. It left everything in shambles. Another deadly and destructive component of the hurricane was the storm surge. John Hope was a hurricane forecaster at the National Hurricane Center at the time.
The storm surge was so intense because it was such a powerful hurricane. The amount of storm surge depends on a number of factors, and one of them is how intense the hurricane is. So the stronger the hurricane, the higher the storm surge will be.
Camille had the highest storm surge ever observed in the United States, more than 24 feet above normal high tide at Pass Christian, Mississippi. As Camille moved inland across Mississippi, it weakened to a tropical depression with winds less than 39 miles per hour. It continued to the northeast into the Appalachians of southern Virginia. Here the storm's remnants produced torrential rain, which triggered flash floods and landslides. Camille ranks high as one of the most destructive killer hurricanes to hit the U.S. Total damage has been estimated at more than $1 billion. 256 people were killed from the Gulf Coast to the Virginias. Many of those deaths were drownings.
We come to mourn those we have lost and to give thanks, we who are left, for whatever we do have left.
For the Weather Channel, I'm Jim Cantore.
As we look ahead to your Friday. Let's get you the latest now on Tropical Storm Chantal, which has now been downgraded to a tropical wave. This happened just within the past hour. Let's find out the latest information by turning to our hurricane expert, Dr. Steve Lyons.
Well, Jennifer, it's good news for the islands, although the actual impact of the islands is not going to make much difference, whether it was a 40-mile-per-hour tropical storm or this tropical wave. But the Hurricane Center's reconnaissance aircraft could not find a close center, so they basically made it a tropical wave, and that basically discontinues all of the advisory information. And here's the circulation as you see it on satellite imagery, and I'll put some wind vectors on here so you can see what it looks like. Here's the wave axis in through here, and what was the low center is very close to St. Vincent now. Apparently the circulation is dissipated to an open wave, but nevertheless there's still some very heavy showers moving through the islands. And also up here in the easterly flow in the northern islands heading towards St. Thomas, St. Croix, and eventually toward Puerto Rico later tonight and tomorrow, you're going to get some breezy winds. So behind this wave, you're going to get winds on the order of 25 to 30 miles per hour and gusting a little higher in some of the showers overnight. So don't let your guard down. Be very careful, especially in the higher elevations. That's where the winds will be the strongest. Now, we still have some tropical storm watches up. Martinique and Guadeloupe both have some tropical storm watches. Each of the countries puts up their own watches and warnings, and we just report those. We expect those to be dropped tomorrow morning. And those are probably up with the anticipation that there still could be some tropical storm force winds behind that tropical wave. Now, elsewhere in the Atlantic, it's relatively quiet. You can see our tropical wave in here. And keep in mind, that doesn't mean that the system is gone forever. It's going to continue to move on to the west, and it's not impossible that it could reform. And by the way, if it does become a depression or a storm again, it will be renamed Chantal as long as we can make sure it's the same circulation it was before. Another tropical wave moving off the coast of Africa. You can see that here, showing no signs of development tonight. And as we go closer to home into the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico, very quiet in the Gulf tonight. Wonderful weather if you're out there. The Western Caribbean, at least for now, is okay, but that remnant of Chantal will be moving that way over the next 3 or 4 days, and we'll be monitoring it very closely. You can with us right here. Eastern Pacific, we have a low in the Eastern Pacific, but not showing signs of tropical development. So let's get back to Jennifer in the studio.
And we have tornado warnings now posted for across
Welcome to Storm Watch. I'm Nick Walker. What once was Tropical Storm Chantal is no longer a tropical storm. However, there still could be some problems tonight for the Windward Islands. Let's get an update on the tropical situation now from our tropical weather expert, Dr. Steve Lyons.
Well, thanks, Nick. And yes, it has been downgraded to tropical wave. We're seeing some showers move through the islands. They'll pretty much clear the islands in another few hours, but gusty winds behind them as well. And this wave is not over yet, we don't think. It could come back as a tropical system once again as it enters the Caribbean Sea. Let me show you a couple of features here. The most recent observations, wind speeds in miles per hour out here. You can see they're 18 miles per hour steady. Some places 12. This buoy out here, a French buoy, 21 miles per hour. We can also put on an analysis of this to show you what's left of the what was a tropical storm. And now we see this tropical wave sitting in here, moving to the west very, very quickly. Let's get the information from the Hurricane Center as of 8 p.m. You can see the winds were still 40, but this is now a tropical wave. It's not a tropical storm anymore, moving to the west very quickly at 29 miles per hour. There are still some tropical storm watches up for Martinique and Guadeloupe. Those we expect to be dropped by tomorrow morning, but nevertheless they're still up. It's not for tropical storm, it's for the tropical wave with the potential for tropical storm force winds. Now what's going to happen with this tropical wave? We can see it here moving across the islands now. Where is it going? It's going to continue to move to the west and move a little more to the west-northwest. The central part of the Caribbean Sea is the delineator normally for where tropical systems start to develop once again. So we don't immediately expect it to redevelop, but the hurricane hunters are going to go out there tomorrow and check it out, make sure it's not redeveloping. And as it moves forward to the west, we do expect it has a better chance to come back again. And if it does become a depression or storm, it will be Chantal once again. It won't be a new name. The rest of the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico very quiet tonight, and the remainder of the Atlantic also quiet, although we do have another tropical wave out here just to the south of the Cape Verde Islands. We'll keep an eye on that one. The winds around that one clearly indicate low pressure. The eastern Pacific is quiet, although some showers flaring up well offshore. We have to go out to the western Pacific to see Typhoon Par-Book, 80 miles per hour and heading towards southern Japan, and forecast to be a very powerful typhoon. So if you're heading to southern Japan, keep an eye on that here on the Weather Channel. Let's get back to the studio now with Nick.
All right, thanks, Dr. Lyons. We are
Welcome back. It's now 9 minutes before the top of the hour. I'm Kelly Cass alongside Bill Keneally, and you're just in time for Storm Watch and, of course, our tropical update. We have been keeping a close eye on what was once Tropical Storm Chantal yesterday. It was downgraded to a tropical wave last night, and today we may have another tropical depression on our hands. We think that as of the top of the hour, the National Hurricane Center will be putting out a new advisory on this particular tropical system, making it a depression once again. So winds are about 35 miles per hour. They've been having trouble finding closed circulation around the